Believe it or not, I am doing this video for the second time because I just did a previous one and my recorder all of a sudden told me that my memory card was slow and it stopped recording, and I only found out about after I stopped recording. So I'm doing this again. Make sure when you are doing these videos that you have your recorder on site and not like like it happened to me. You don't want to go through that again. Feel like I'm going to repeat myself, but here we go. We'll fix it in post. Something that let me control myself. That's how bad I hate that mentality. It gets me. That's how bad I hate it. Because I've seen in indie filmmaking this mentality being accepted as a normal thing. People don't get something right on set or whatever. Oh, we'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post. No. People that tend to have that mentality of we'll fix it in post, they're either lazy and don't want to take the time to set everything up on set, because let's be honest, sometimes building everything up on set can take time. Or two, the people that have this mentality just don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. I'll give you an example. Somebody who is operating the camera, who quote unquote calls themselves a cinematographer. By the way, everybody today, just because they have a camera, they think they're a cinematographer, but that's another video. But maybe the person that's on set doesn't understand exposure, doesn't understand ISO, doesn't understand the lenses, aperture, doesn't understand how to read false color, a histogram, whatever. Some of them even just have the camera on autofocus and they expect the lens and the camera to just do the work for them. And let's say they're doing a scene in indoors, which most of the time the light inside of a house or an apartment is not really good to begin with. At least it doesn't translate well with these new sensors. So what happens? They crank the ISO up a lot, or they just let the camera do the auto thing, and the camera just tries to compensate for whatever light is not available. And what you end up with is a noisy footage. It's has noise everywhere, especially that purple, nasty noise you see. And so then they come into post and then they try to fix this by applying some noise reduction. And it's obvious, you can tell that the noise reduction is heavy. It's there, you can see it. And now the colors are also washed out and the image just got worse. It's bad. You don't fix a noisy footage just because you add noise reduction. It's going to look bad regardless because it's bad to begin with. I'll give you another example. Maybe the person that's doing sound, maybe they don't know about production sound mixing. They don't know about gain staging. They don't know about bit rates. They don't understand the microphone sensitivity. And so they'll just plug the microphone, add 48 volts of phantom power, and put a little bit of gain or something, and then they'll just point the mic at the actors and hope that the microphone just picks up their voice. And then when you come into post, the sound is not good, the actors are off axis, and they try to add some noise reduction in post for the audio, or they try to add some EQ and compression to make it sound good. That doesn't work. All right, why? Because you didn't get good sound on set. You didn't get good sound. So let me give you an example. Right now I'm on axis, as you can hear me on this microphone. This is how I sound on axis. If I were to just step out and speak to the right side, I'm off axis. I'm exaggerating right now, but I'm off axis right now. You cannot fix this. This is bad to begin with. Okay? You cannot make this sound like this. You can make an off-axis sound like an on-axis sound. You can't do that. There's no plugin in post that just does that. There isn't. at least that I know of. And there's no AI that does that. You have to get good sound to begin with. And these are just two examples. I can name many more. Another thing, there is nothing you can fix of an actor's performance in post. You cannot fix in post a bad acting, a bad performance. You can't fix that. You as a director, if you are a director, you have to work with your actors and communicate what it is that you want from them. And you also have to supervise that they're not overacting or underacting. You have to make sure that they're believable and that everything is on par with the story overall. So again, you cannot fix a bad performance. Once you captured it, that's it. So again, these are just some examples of people that are just lazy or don't know what they're doing, and they're relying on post-production to get things done. Look, post-production is an amazing tool. We need it. But post-production is so we can get all those scenes, everything we've got on set together, to put the story together, to put the movie into one, and then we use the tools available to enhance the story that we already have. That's all post-production is for. If you were to shoot a noisy image that's all noisy and grainy, well, not grainy because it's not film, but it's noisy, and you give that image to a professional editor in one of the big studios, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you to reshoot that, because they're going to tell you right away that footage is unacceptable. But in the indie world, this has been somehow accepted as okay. And that is why some indie movies look indie, because people just don't care. They don't take the time to learn and study. So this whole idea of we'll fix it in post is bad. Don't be one of those people that have that mentality. If you're a director, a cinematographer, a production sound mixer, you do sound, or even if you're an editor, communicate with people and get everything right on set. And I guarantee you, it will be a much better, efficient storytelling and workflow in post. Let me give you an example, and with this I'll close. The first short movie that I ever did, called Why Do You Love Me, which you can find, by the way, here. I was new at the time, so I didn't know what I knew now, but I knew enough to know that I needed to get everything right on set. I had studied and read enough books and did a lot of research, and I'm still reading books and doing research and listening to directors and cinematographers. I'm always learning. But at that time, with the knowledge I had, I made sure that I got the lighting right on set. I did everything I could to get the lighting, the sound, everything on set. So then that way I can focus on the actor's performance. When I came into post and I saw the footage, it was good. In fact, I would say I got 95% of that footage on set right. So that all I really did in post was just make sure that the blacks were hitting 0 or near 0 on the waveform, and that was it. And making sure that the colors and the vector scopes were right. I mean, that's all I really did. I applied maybe 5% of saturation just because I felt like their skin tone, especially on the girl, just needed a bit of saturation. But that was it. But here's the thing. When I first started putting the movie together, I felt the need to manipulate the image. I felt the need to put my hands on the image. I wanted to do some color grading. I wanted to make it look, and I hate this word, I wanted to make it look cinematic. Gosh, I hate that word. I wanted to make it look cinematic. I wanted to make it look like cinema. I wanted to make it look, you know, like what everything looks like out there. And what I was doing, I was damaging the file. I was damaging the look that I got on set. And I had to humble myself. I had to sit back and say, listen, what are you doing? You got everything right. You just want to play around with color and contrast and this. You just want to tweak, but you don't need to because you got it right on set. And that's what I see happening a lot. People feel the need that they need to change the image. Sometimes you may have gotten a good image. You just don't know it because either you haven't trained your eyes to see what a good image is, and you don't even have to do much to it. But when you feel that you have to touch the image because, I don't know, like that's when it becomes a problem. So look, this whole idea of we'll fix it in post, that's not how the pros work. People like Roger Deakins, for example, the cinematographer Roger Deakins, he got all the colors that you see on Blade Runner 2049. He got that on camera, on set. Those colors were not added in post. That's why that movie looks as amazing as it looks. And again, these are seasoned pros. They've been doing this for decades. But I'm giving you an example of just so you can see what a pro looks like. And the indie community, and I'm not saying all indies are bad, but things I touched this, but most of them are. Let's be honest. Most indie movies are, because a lot of people just don't know what they're doing. And there's so many usefulness outside now. I mean, there's so many products available now, cameras, lenses, recorders, mics. I mean, we're living in a good time. But post-production is a tool to just put our story together and enhance it. That's all it is. Yes, sometimes you can get away by using noise reduction because you got a bad noisy footage. Sometimes you can't get away with that. But you should not rely on that mentality. That is not how professional people think. Get it right on set, and I guarantee you your work will look much better and you will stand out more professional. Sometimes I've had to set up even 45 minutes getting everything right. Sometimes just to film a 1-minute scene. But you know what? It's worth it. You know why? Because you only have one chance to get this right. You only have one chance to get it right. So since you only have one chance to get it right when you're on set, get it right. Because once that movie is put out there in the world, it's just going to live out there forever. So don't cut corners. Get it right on set, and you'll see that the post-production tools that we have today will just serve to enhance what you got there. Let me know what you think. I love to hear your comments, your thoughts. Do you think this way? Are you one of those people that you're somewhat lazy, or because you really don't know what you're doing, you rely on post-production? Or do you know somebody like that? What would you tell them? What would you do differently? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Comment it on the section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.